How's it going, YouTube? We're back with ATOTO again today. We've got another car stereo to fit. This is another one from their A6 range. This is another Android-based system based around Android 10.0. A couple of months ago I fitted one very similar to this, but it was a 10-inch model rather than the 7-inch model which I've got here. I'll show you quickly now what that one looks like, but this is virtually the same thing, but it's a 7-inch rather than the 10-inch. Again, this supports wireless CarPlay, wired Android Auto, wireless and wired MirrorLink. This, for me, the interest of this is wireless CarPlay because I've got an iPhone. So today we're going to fit this into a Subaru Impreza. We'll see how it fits. This is a 7-inch version, as I've said, so this is like your standard doubled-in size. So let's open this box up and have a quick look inside, see what it's like. So straight away in the box, we've got all the looms and everything at the top. Let's put this to one side and I'll pull them out one at a time and we'll have a look what there is. If I spread these out on the table, we can have a quick look, see what we've got in the box. Right, so we'll look at the car stereo in a minute. Let's have a look at everything we get here. We've got two ISO plugs. These are your standard ISO adapters. What you're best off doing is get an adapter from whatever car you've got to these ISO connectors. We've got an adapter for the Subaru Impreza. We'll have a look at that and I'll show you what we've done there. You basically get two adapters depending on the output of your car. The only difference between these two adapters is this red cable and this yellow cable here, because that's your ignition live and your permanent live. And on both of these, you've got one way and one the other. As you can see there, the yellow's there, and this one, the red's there, and yellow's around there. We've got a GPS aerial. We've got a microphone. You don't actually get a cat. Brackets to mount everything. We'll have a look at those when we actually fit it. We've got here two USB cables. One is an external storage, so you can plug in a hard drive or anything to that if you've got any music or films or anything like that stored on it. The other one is a USB. This is for your wired CarPlay or your Android Auto. So you can plug that into there. We'll have a look at that later on. This one here is another loom in case you've not got the ISO plugs and you want to wire this straight in. Right, this one here, this one's got some video ins. So if you've got any other cameras, you've got your external microphone there, and I think you've got some RCA outputs here for your subwoofer and any amplifiers, anything like that. You've got another little loom here. This one's for your reversing camera. Over here, it's nice to see these included. On the back of the stereo, there's no RC outputs if you want any front and rear amplifiers. But what we've got here is you can take this down to a low output. So you'll use your speaker outputs there, wire this into your speaker outputs. Instead of going straight to your speakers, this is your outputs that can go as an input into your amplifiers. So you've got a front and a rear there that you can wire to your speakers and have front and rear amplifiers. And that's it for all the wiring. So let me move that to one side and we'll have a look what's in this box. Right, below all the wiring, we've got a couple of fascias. We'll have a look at those when we come to fit it, but there's two fascias there. It looks like one's for an internal fitted and one's for an external fitted. So if it's fitting over your trim, you use one. If it's fitting from behind your trim, you use the other. This is what I'm assuming, so we will have a look at that when we come to fit it, because on the Subaru, the stereo fits behind the trim on the dashboard and sticks through. Next one is a book of instructions and your warranty information, all the connections for the back of the radio, so some instructions there. Let's have a look at the radio itself. You can see it's sat there nicely wrapped up. Let's get this out and have a look. Move this box out of the way, take this out of the plastic. Let's have a quick look at it. This is always a satisfying part, to take this out. Right, so as I said, this is doubled in size, so this will fit straight in your doubled in radio slot. Any other car that's not got your standard doubled in radio, I'm sure you can go to Halfords or whatever and you can get an adapter plate that'll adapt whatever radio you've got into a doubled in for your dash trim. It's got actual buttons there, it's got clicky buttons rather than the capacitive buttons on my other one. I do actually like the clicky buttons, because when you're looking at the road, you can feel with your fingers and press them. I do like that. On the back, We've got the plugs for all the looms. The main loom goes in here. These are the auxiliary looms for the cameras and what have you. Radio antenna, GPS. This is Wi-Fi antenna. It's got the heat sinks and everything on the back, so compared to your normal doubled in radio, then this is going to sit not very deep in your vehicle, so which makes it good because then there's plenty of room behind for all of your wiring. Right, that's about it for the head unit. I've got some extra bits to look at which are an optional extra for these head units, so let's have a look at those now. Right, these are some extra bits which we're going to fit as well. I've actually got another radio down there which is wireless Android as well. We'll have a look at that one at a later date, but for now let's have a look at these extras. This one is a HD dash cam. This one plugs into the A6 series and then it records onto SD card in the side there, so you can use this as a dash cam as well. You can view it on your screen. This one actually mounts up to the screen and then you can turn it to get it to look at whatever you want. And then we've got a little loom there, so this goes down and it plugs into USB and it's all powered from the USB, so it's fairly straightforward. And then there's a little app that you can download as well, and then you can have this as a dash cam on your radio. So we'll have a look at that. What I'll do actually is I'm going to fit this one to my Volkswagen van on the 10-inch one, and then we'll see how this works. We'll do that a little bit later as well. So this is a little HD dash cam that you can buy as an extra. The other little extra you can buy is a reversing camera. We've looked at these before. These are nice as well. This is a tiny little camera. We're going to fit this on the Subaru as well. This will be fitted just above the rear number plate, so we'll have a look at that when we get to it. This will give us a reverse camera ability on the A6 radio as well. So you get a nice little loom there. This loom we need to wire into the camera, and we need to take a reverse feed off of the reverse lights. So this will tell the head unit when we're putting it in reverse, and then it'll automatically switch over to the camera. We'll have a look how to install this as well whilst we're doing the radio. So I'll pack this away for now, and then I'll get everything together. We need to go outside and fit this to the Subaru. Let's get on with it, shall we? I'll see you outside. Right, here we are. We've got all the stuff ready now, so we're going to get it fitted. This is what it's going on. 2007 Subaru Impreza. It's the last of the Hawkeyes, so it's a nice one. So we're going to mount the head unit inside there. We'll have a look at that in a second. But we're also going to fit this reverse camera as well. Right, so what we're going to do is fit it behind the number plate here. So it's going to be like 45 degrees sticking out just above the number plate. So we'll get a little bracket in and we'll get that mounted as well. Right, so this is inside the car. We've got the standard stereo that's in there. We're going to take that one out. We're going to fit this one in place of it. It's doubled in fitting, so it should fit straight in. This one's actually fitted behind this bit of trim, so we're going to try and match that and make it the same, and we'll get this one so it's poking out through rather than stuck on the front of it. We'll make it look a bit more OEM. But first we've got to strip down some of this. We're not quite sure how to do it, so it's a bit of a journey of discovery, and we'll find out together how to take this to pieces, and then we'll get it fitted in. So first job, we need to get this one out. Right, this just pulls up this trim, I believe, so we'll pull that one out. Right, next job, screw the gear stick off, and then that'll allow us to take this off. Right, that's that bit out of the way. Next job, we've got two little Phillips screws there. We've got to take those out, and then we should be able to unclip this front, this whole trim here. We'll find out once we've got these two screws out. Right, hopefully now this should just clip off. Right, there we are. We've got access to the radio now. We've got a couple of screws to get this out, and then we can get this old head unit out. Oh, that's perfect. We'll unplug this and get this out of the way, and then we'll have a look at this wiring. Right, let's sort out the wiring we want. We need to take some of these looms with us, so I'm going to collect these together and we'll go back to the car. Right, this little adapter plug here, we got this off of eBay. I'll put a link in the description to this exact one just in case anybody is doing a Subaru. But all this does is the original Subaru loom plugs into there, and then it converts it into ISO. So what we need to do is we need to pick which one matches this one, so we need to get the yellow and the red right, and then we'll take whichever one we need back to the car. But anybody doing this, it makes it a lot easier if you buy one of these little adapters that converts your plug to a ISO plug. Just makes everything so much simpler. Right, so what we'll do is we'll get this adapter loom, we'll plug that into the main loom, we'll plug the adapter loom into the ISO loom that we've got, and then plug it into the head unit just to make sure, see if it all powers up. Right, that's it, all plugged in. There we are, straight away it's fired up. As it says on the box, it's a 2-second startup time. I expected actually the first time it to take a bit longer, but it didn't. So I think the first time round, we know it powers up. What we need to do now is get the rest of the wires in and get this working. Right, the only bit we've had to do is this blue wire here, which is for the antenna. It's not an electric one, but it's an amplified one. So I've had to wire that in directly. We've used one of these little Wago clips to wire it in. So apart from that now, this is all working fine. We've got to run out now the microphone and the GPS aerials. Right, so what we're doing is we're going to run the cables across there. We're going to fit the GPS there on top of the dashboard, and then run the cable up there for the microphone. I'm in the back, I'm running the cable out for the reversing camera. I'll show you something there as well, how we're doing that. Right, so in the boot, you remove this trim, and then behind this trim, there's a little cable run there. This is just information for anybody that's got one of these cars. If we remove this seat, it's just some bolts at the front, and then that lifts up. And then behind there's some bolts at the bottom of this seat, and then you can lift it up and move it forward. And that's where the cable runs in there. We're going to follow, there's something else been fitted, so we're going to follow this cable run, and that's where I'm taking the camera, and then it's going to go around under this trim. We'll keep it under this trim all the way to the front, and then when we're in the back, we'll figure out how to get it outside in a minute. Right, so the reverse camera's done. Let's have a quick look at that before I put all this back together. What I've done is I've got that mounted there. It's at 45 degrees down, so it's nicely tucked behind. When the number plate's on, it literally just hides there, so you can't even see it really. So that sits there nice, and then I've followed the wire through from the number plate lights, so the wire's gone through inside from there. On the reverse light, on the back there, as you can see, we've got the wires coming from the loom, and then I've just soldered the cables in, so we've got a reverse feed. So when the reverse light comes on, we've got power back down the cable to the front of the vehicle, and that'll tell the radio to switch over to the camera. So that's all done. I'll get that back together. This camera's actually, I think it's upside down, so I'm hoping in software we can flip it, because I can't mount that the other way up. We'll see what that's like later. So I'm going to put this number plate back on and put all this back end together, and then we'll go and have a look in the front, see how it's getting on with the microphone and the GPS aerial. Right, that's all the back end done and built up. Camera's just there, hid up there, so we'll set that up when we're ready. Back seats are all in and done, that's all ready. GPS aerials there on the dashboard. We've also got the microphone fitted up there for the hands-free. This is to do with the alarm, this one. The wires are run all the way back, and we've got everything coming out of here now, so now we can start wiring it up. I've also put in the USB cable there for Android Auto. We've got that run through, so if we're wanting to plug in an Android phone, we can. So now we've just got to get everything ready. We're going to get the brackets. What we're going to try and do actually is use the old Subaru brackets, because they unscrew from the side of the radio. We'll have a look at the bracket mounting kits in a second, and then we'll figure out how we're going to mount this, and then get it all plugged in and get it done and working. These are the brackets you get with it. So these normally go in like that, and then they fasten to the side of the other brackets. I'll show you those in a second, and then you can normally fasten it back. There's a few different ways of mounting these. So if we look at these other brackets here, what they do on the side of the radio is they screw on like that, and then that you can mount those to there, and then these ones mount to there in many different orientations, and then you can get everything set up exactly how you'd want it to be. But what we're going to do is I'm going to mount these to here, and then these brackets on this side of this radio, we're going to use the original ones, and we're going to try and see if we can get those to fit and get all this to sit right back in there. Right, there we are, we've used the original brackets and we've managed to get that all screwed together, so it should go back in and everything should be lined up. We won't know until we put this original trim back on, but let's get it all plugged back in and see if we can get it fitted. Right, that's everything plugged in. We've got the microphone plugged in there, the GPS plugged in there, we've got the extra looms that we want. This is all amps and things, we don't need it, but we needed this one for the microphone. This one is for the reverse camera, and we've wired in the reverse feed from the back that we wired up to the light, and then it had a permanent ignition live actually that wired in that goes back to the camera. We've wired that into the ignition live in the loom. So we'll get this aerial plugged in and then we'll feed this in and get it screwed back into that hole there and then have a look. Right, that's getting screwed back in now. Those little black surrounds that went round the edge of the radio, those trims to tidy it up, we don't actually need those because this is going to be the replacement for that. This fits straight behind there and it fits into it. So let's stick this trim on and see how it fits. And there we are, that fits nicely in there. So we'll screw this back, we'll get this dashboard all back together, and then we'll see you back when we're turning it on. Right, there's a stereo on now. This is, like as we said, it runs on Android 10. So if you go into the menu, it's got all the usual features that you get with Android. If you sign into your Android account as well, it's got Play, wherever that is, Play Store. So you can go into the Play Store and you can download all your apps and everything as well. This connects through Wi-Fi, so you can connect it by Wi-Fi to your phone, and then you'll get your internet through your phone onto your radio. You can also do that through Bluetooth as well. So if we go into settings, go to device, down to Bluetooth, if you click on the phone that you've connected to, it's got here a little bit called internet access there. So if you turn that on, then you can get internet for your radio through the phone. So there's a few different ways of connecting to the internet. Right, as again with Android, you can hold, move everything, change it around. You can make this look however you want it. So you can customize it to your own desire. Again, you've got this navigation. We've not set up a navigation yet because we're going to use Apple CarPlay in this, but if you was using the normal Android system, you could set up whatever navigation you want to use yourself, and it connects with that GPS aerial over there. Normal radio settings, this second one in, this is your radio. I'll keep it muted at the minute so we don't get any copyrights, but if you just press and hold to scan it, it'll find the next radio station. There you are. And then as normal, if you press on the button and hold it, then that'll save it to that slot, and then it's saved there. So that's your radio. It's got lots of different options for your traffic reports and everything else, just the same as any other radio. So if we go back to the main screen, for Apple CarPlay, you can either plug it in, what we've got in here, we've got a little USB plug there. You can plug your iPhone or your Android phone into that to connect. This one's got wireless CarPlay. So what you do first is if you go into the settings, go to your Bluetooth, connect your phone, and then it's paired. And then if we go into this menu, you've got the CarLink 2. If we press that, then that'll connect to either Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, whichever phone you've got connected. The first time you do this, when it connects, it'll ask you to verify a few settings. Click OK. You only do that once, and then after that it remembers. As you can see, we're into the CarPlay now. If you leave it in this screen, turn off the car, go away, and then come back, it will automatically connect to your phone and load up CarPlay the next time as well. Right, so on this we've got maps set up, so obviously you've got your navigation and everything there. Use your navigation as normal, whichever app you want to use. So if we go back out of CarPlay into the Android system, You've got your phone there, so you can click on that. You've got your hands-free phone. So there you've got all your contacts saved and everything else, just like a normal hands-free phone. So you can use it that way if you're using it on the Android radio. There's an extensive equalizer built into this, so you can play around with this forever. There's all sorts of little things, bass boost, sine field, so you can pick where you want the sound to come from. Crossovers, so if you're running amps, you've got low frequency pass, high frequency pass, things like that. We've got the reverse camera. What I said earlier about it being upside down, and hopefully we can turn it the right way around. In software you can't do that, you have to get it the right way around. So we've remounted that and we've got it back in. So this is what the reverse camera looks like. We put it in reverse and we've got the reverse camera. So we've got the little bars and everything else. So that's working perfect. That's in and out. As soon as you put it in reverse, it's there. As it runs on Android, you can watch videos, do anything you want. We've got YouTube there set up as well. So you can go through, watch any video you like. There you go. If you so wish, we've got a Chrome browser, so as normal you can connect to the internet. There's also other little things preloaded into this. We've got the Talk app. On the Talk app, anybody that knows this app, if you've got a Bluetooth OBD connector, you can go into this and then you can set up all the little gauges and everything else and see what your engine's doing, reset engine faults and things like that. This is a really good little app, this, but you need one of those little Bluetooth adapters. This screen looks really reflective while we're doing this. It is reflective, but it is actually from my angle where I'm sat. It's a lot clearer. You can see it a lot better than what it looks like. It looks like a mirror in this camera. So apart from that, there's loads you can do this. I'm not going to go into every little detail of it. I think it looks really good in there. It's really good quality screen. The startup time as well, if we just knock the ignition off completely for a second. That's on. If we turn on, see how quick it loads up. That's it, a few seconds and we're on. Like I said, if you left it in the car link for your Apple CarPlay, turned off your car, came back, that's where it'd start up again, which is how I run mine personally, to be honest. So I actually quite like that. That's done. That's how to install an ATOTO wireless CarPlay Android stereo into a Subaru Impreza. Right, I've still got this to install. This is the USB DVR dash cam. I'm going to install this on my camper. So this also runs on the A6 systems. I'm going to do this another day because it needs a little micro SD card there to record the footage on. I've not got one of spare at the minute, so I've got to order one of those. But what I'll do is I'll do another video later installing this. But remember, this is an option that you can buy for that A6 radio as well. Right, that's about it for this video. I've got another car stereo in there, which is a wireless Android and a wireless CarPlay. We'll install that on another car a bit later on, and we'll do another video on that later as well. But for now, that's this one done. Check down below. ATOTO have given some discount vouchers as well, so I'll put those in the description below. I'll put links to everything in the description below as well, so check those out. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of these fitting kind of things, more of the cars and everything else that's on the channel. Like the video if you liked it, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Cheers.